Testing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I find it interesting. I just typed in uh, the same search, used the same um, toolbar, I thought, and came up with a different screen this time. So that's another thing that I want to talk about is what you see on your screen when you do a search on your phone does not always yield the same results as what I would possibly get. And this is to better explain what I was talking about in the last video I did, or previous video I did, about 1999, the Prince album cover, and the Matrix movie. And I was trying to tie those two together. Um, in 1982 is when the album came out. 1999, that was 17 years before 1999 actually um, was here, and we were concerned about Y2K. But I want to talk about the numerology first. In 1982, that's 17 years prior to 1999, and 1 plus the 7 is 8. 8 is the number of new beginnings. So um, to me, the movie The Matrix was foretold, foreshadowed in the 1999 movie. I'm sorry, in the album 1999 by Prince. And I had Prince album cover on the screen, and uh, there's a lot of abstract imagery, but it is not without some sound interpretation. Um, and so to me, the album design, and let me see if I can just pull that up, but I try not to, sometimes I try not to look when I'm channeling and talking because it gets distracting. Hope you guys are having a great, ladies and gentlemen, are having a great day. Creators, co creators, lovers. Let's see what we got. So I'll come back to this one. So I just wanted to have what I'm talking about on the screen. And I'll try to keep this one brief because I really want to get the message across. In this abstract cover, the word here looks like prime, Prime. I didn't have my cursor really showing a lot of the things that I was explaining, but this right here is not only a crescent moon, but if you turn your head sideways, uh, then it appears to be also teeth with braces. And I was talking about this mushroom or phallus, as well as looks like the male energy, masculine energy here, the child in the middle, and the feminine energy here. These dragons or worms or entities, these nines. There was also these red stars. There's two there. There's also two here, and there's two by the crescent moon. So I would say the mother. These are the things that we honor the most. Here is the feminine energy, the masculine tool more than the masculine himself, and then the crescent moon are the smile or the teeth, the stars, the pearls, um, things of that along those lines. There's also again a face here, the two eyes. There's the mouth. This here is the head and the hair. There's a football here, and then there's a number 1 for the eye. This again is supposed to be an N, but it's also a pair of pants. And like I said, because it is so close together, this here looks like an M. This is the gopher I was talking about, or the shape of a gopher or house, the trail. And I don't have my readers on, so I can't go into much more detail. But again, it also looks kind of like a candy cane with the two different colors. And to me, again, it's encompassing both masculine and feminine energy, which is a big deal right now in our communities. Is understanding and honoring both energies, but not robbing those that were or are anatomically feminine, not robbing us of uh, the sacredness that came along with that, the gift that came along with that. I was just watching a TikTok video of a woman who got very upset because apparently one who was born masculine or male um, spoke about having a gynecologist, and um, she was upset because there you can't take on the feminine role to the degree of robbing us. You know, it's just like the highest form of emotional plagiarism, if you will. Um, there's a blessing and a pain, a hardship that comes with both being a male or a female. And I think when we honor those um, for what we were born with, then we add value to who we are. When we start to reassign gender and things like that, we blur the lines in a world that's already much too ambiguous, I believe. But again, it's in our words. Even the word ambiguous, am by, or the Bible, bi, meaning two out of one. And so a bicycle has two wheels, but it's made for one person. We have a male and female hormones are those that have been assigned to the male. Women have testosterone, men have levels of estrogen, but we're not talking about the amount. We're talking about the genitalia, what you were born with, and what roles uh, can, should, would be played out that aren't mutable. They aren't changeable. Um, and so, you know, ovaries and a uterus, these are things that are exclusive to a female. And I think, again, I'm not blaming or hating on anyone for their desire to change into a female one, because I believe part of that is because uh, there are men who just don't want to be associated with Mars and war and this aggressiveness that has come upon, this bullying that has come upon the earth. Um, so I get that, but the way that we deal with that is we tear down those um, old paradigms and we build a new one. Um, but we honor our gender. We honor the agenda, which is not gender biased one way or the other. But there is space for women to be women and men to be men. Um, and then for those who are transitioning and doing their thing, it, there's a place for it. I can't stop it. But I would like for us to think about it before we go any further. The same with artificial intelligence. It is a collective data system that others are trying to make conscious, and they don't seem to care about the outcome uh, more than the effort. And so that's why I know there is a higher power, there is a God above all of this, all of this shenanigan that's going on that would not allow us to self-destruct. Um, and for us to speak out on it. Again, these agendas, it started back when I was growing up and watching television. Movies like Tootsie, Mrs. Doubtfire. These were the first movies that began to um, indicate, as well as Bosom Buddies, Three's Company. All of these movies had an undertone of it's not okay for whatever the reason to just be a male. Um, in Three's Company, he could not find an apartment, I believe was the plot or the background of the story. Could not find an apartment. It was an all female or whatever it was. So he had to pose as being gay. Um, and that's what allowed Mr. Roper to, allow him to be in the apartment with Janet and Chrissy. Um, Mrs. Doubtfire, the husband had, played by Robin Williams, had conflict with his wife, and so he wanted to see his children, so he dressed up like um, a female nanny. I don't remember uh, what all Tootsie was about, but again, there's those are enough examples, and I'm sure you may have some. Feel free to comment. Um, these examples of changing the gender, and at a time that I believe that it is time for women to heal themselves, heal the world, um, feel safe in the world, be proud of their anatomy, and uh, it seems like when there's a time to do that, that's when all of a sudden the confusion comes up. When it's time for someone to win, then we start questioning. Well, is it really fair? And I can do what a woman can do, or I'm a woman too, or I'm a man too. Whatever it is. Again, this is just the hot topic of discussion. So whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's interpreting, the abstract, I'm here for it. I'm here for a conversation. But I do agree with the news lady, anchor, whomever she was, that um, it's offensive um, to, for me anyway. I've gone through the whole gamut of now postmenopausal, but the years of cramping and cycle, all of that went with what we were told was our gift. And God knows when I was not as careful as I needed to be and not as conscious, uh, you was praying for that gift, which meant that you did not break the cycle, and so a seed had not been planted unwanted or unplanned. So there's a lot more to us having this discussion about women being women and men being men. And like I said, I would like for those who are considering a lot of these. changes, to know where it might have stemmed from, that it might not be their own idea. Every piece of information that we get comes from somewhere, something, someone. And so, if after they have listened to the source and possibly the motive of whoever would promote, hey, if you don't like your gender, just change it. If you don't like your consciousness, just change it. If you don't like your body part, just change it. Whoever is pushing these kinds of changes, if we knew what their motive was, if it was really to make us happier, more wholesome, live a better quality of life, then I say, um, let God be God. I have no judgment for you. Um, what I do have, again, is a daughter who I hope will marry a man, and I hope they will have children that have the assignment of their gender stay in the traditional way. What is the need of our birth certificate and the information thereon? If we can just go and change it, where do we, as a global consciousness, where do we draw the line? Again, because it's not going to stop at gender. Uh, People are already saying that they're non-binary. Um, I don't even know what it truly means to be binary. Again, basically not in the, I guess, the ones and the zeros game, or to me they're straight lines or they're curves. That's all we have in this world: straight lines and curves, and those draw on our energy, however those lines are drawn. Um, we said there are two basic emotions: love and fear. So is it coming from a place of love or is it coming from a place of fear? I'm coming from a place of love. If you would like to talk about this on a from a peer um, aspect, I am here. I'm available with love, with compassion. If you're sold on, you can't stop me. I'm who I am. I'm who I want to be. And again, I think that some people just took you could be what you want to be or who you want to be. They took it to another level, an extreme level, and no one has talked about or would even know what the long-term side effects are. The other thing is uh, those actors that I spoke about that dressed up like women or transformed themselves. Um, they were able to take off their wig and their makeup and go back to being who they were born to be. When you start to surgically and hormonally change your chemical structure, these are things that cannot be reversed without much complication. And then again, it will never be the same, no matter how someone tells you that it's reversible. So I think the root of why these things are happening is most important. And though I've switched topics, Prince was definitely known as more of an androgynous person, and yet he called his name, as well as he called himself Prince. He didn't call himself Princess, um, and he was very clear on the fact that he was a man, and that he was a heterosexual man. So, um, yet he was, I would say, the beautiful one. He is a very beautiful artist. more than a man or a female. He was a beautiful artist. So I do know how to appreciate people uh, beyond their anatomy. Uh, but again, I believe it is what makes us uh, able to communicate with each other, able to get along with each other, is that we understand boundaries, um, and that we don't mix uh, different races and cultures. Challenges in our history do not mix and merge uh, the black people's struggle with other struggles and difficulties. Totally different stage, platform, and scenario. And I believe we would do well when we um, address things individually, um, and culturally, and take things step by step um, from that aspect. So I'll close with, again, let us maintain our authentic intelligence. Let us not allow uh, a few people to steer us away from practicality. There's so many challenges in this world that I believe should be addressed um, from a mandatory standpoint. And again, I quote mandatory because we do all have free will. But if we knew um, the the mental crises that goes along with changing such a big structure, the very infrastructure of a soul, a human life, a spirit, um, it needs much care. It needs much, much care and attention. So that is my spiel with that today. Thank you all for tuning in. Please share this information. Again, it's coming from a good space. So please know that I support human life more than anything. But I believe that it is time for those who want to preserve the original state of humans. I believe it's time for us to talk and get together and embrace those who uh, do feel the need to make those changes and find out why, instead of ridicule or just automatically, you know, dismissing any challenge that has come up in our current affairs. All right. So take care, and hope to see you all on the other side of the video. Bye for now.